Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
Coming at you with a special episode of the RCWR Post Show, live right now on blogtalkradio.com, right at the stroke of 11 o'clock p.m., January 13th, 2013. Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope y'all have had a fantastic weekend. I know some of you probably aren't ready for the new work week. Some of you probably had this weekend go flying past you. My, how the time flies. As always, we got the chat room that is open up right now at blogtalkradio.com. Feel free to jump on in there. If you're listening to us for the very first time, welcome. We hope that you enjoy tonight's post show. We're interacting with you all, so those of you in the chat room, let us know if you saw the TNA Genesis pay-per-view, what you thought of it. Also, you can interact with us on Twitter during the course of this episode. Hit us up at Infinity1Prod. And of course, we're going to be opening up the phone lines in the later part of the show to get you all's thoughts on the Genesis pay-per-view. Keep it brief. Gives you enough time to prepare yourself. We're going to try to go through the results as quickly as possible because I do want to take you all's calls. But for those of you that were not fortunate to see tonight's pay-per-view, you know for a fact how we do it over here on the RCWR Post Show. So without any further ado, let's go ahead, jump right into it. All right, so it was the 8th annual installment of the TNA Genesis pay-per-view. First TNA Wrestling pay-per-view of the new calendar year as TNA Wrestling. They have now re-strategized the way that they're going to be going about their pay-per-views for this calendar year as the emphasis, the focus, is now going to be on 4 major pay-per-views. TNA Genesis being one of them. The next one is going to be Lockdown. Then you have Bound for Glory and Slammiversary. Those are the main 4 that they are now focusing on as they've dropped all the other pay-per-views. Just in case you might have not heard that, there's your new piece of news right there. Still has a lot of TNA wrestling fans talking now. They're making up for this in a big way as they're going to be doing one-night-only type of special shows, and I think their strategy for this is very smart. But I'll talk a little bit more on that in the later part of the show. For now, I want to talk about tonight's pay-per-view, 8th annual installment of tonight's event. And, you know, I'm kind of glad that TNA is operating the way that they are because with this respective pay-per-view, I really felt it was a so-so pay-per-view. There was probably only 2 matches that really just had me into it. Let's talk about the first match, Joey Ryan teaming up with Matt Morgan to take on Chavo and Hernandez for those tag team titles. We all know that for the past couple of months now, these 2 tag teams, they've just been going at it. Everybody is in agreement that with regards to Joey Ryan, Matt Morgan, just seems like they have just become lost in the shuffle, so to speak. Just seems like they really haven't been relevant for a while, especially ever since Hulk Hogan kind of stepped away from pushing that little program there that he had going on with those exchange of words with Matt Morgan. Seems like all that just went out the window. They've just been lost. Meanwhile, you go over to the tag champions, Chavo, and you got Hernandez. People are tired of these guys, seeing them as the tag champions. I don't think you're really going to get any arguments out of the average TNA wrestling fans. And it's not a knock to Chavo and Hernandez. They're both great performers. It's just that I think a lot of TNA wrestling fans are just kind of tired of seeing these 2 always get the tag belts. And notice right here we had the first of several WWE references from Mike Tenay. I don't know what's been going on, but the past 2 weeks, it seems, Mike Tenay has been dropping those WWE references when he talks about key wrestlers. Of course, to the disappointment of a lot of fans, we did not see Joey Ryan and Matt Morgan become the new tag champions. Now, I've said it on our Call That Match special, and if you had watched it as it was only available on YouTube, I went on record saying that the smart money would be to put the tag belts on Joey Ryan, Matt Morgan. They need to be relevant right about now. They just have really lost whatever type of momentum that they had going on, and it's quite unfortunate because it seemed like Joey Ryan was doing more good for himself when he was doing his thing with Pro Wrestling, Gorilla, Empire Pro Wrestling. It seemed like he had a lot of good things that was just going on right there with the way he had things arranged with TNA Wrestling before he started committing to them on a semi-full-time basis. It just kind of seems like now that he's officially on the dotted line, he's just been kind of tossed to the side like stale meat. And, I'm very curious to see where this particular team is going to go. Now, if you were paying attention to this match, for those of you that saw this, you saw key things in this match that kind of led you to the impression that maybe, just maybe, the team of Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan is about to break up. Notice during the contest, we see Matt Morgan, he was throwing a few insults out there to Joey Ryan, calling him stupid, moron, and post-match when they had suffered their defeat, we see a hot-hitting Matt Morgan looking on, and he was just verbally chewing out Joey Ryan. So you're just kind of keeping all that in mind. And I think we have interesting Impact Live television for a couple of weeks to come, as we could see a irritated Matt Morgan just basically kind of tell Joey Ryan, I didn't team up with you to be a loser. I'm here to win and get the damn job done. And I guess we could probably most likely see Joey Ryan kind of tell Morgan, hey, we just had a misunderstanding. It's cool. We're going to get on the rebound. We can kind of see him try to convince his big buddy that everything is all good. But I strongly believe that we're beginning to see the end of this tag team right here. And quite honestly, maybe it's for the best, because I really don't think Matt Morgan needs this right now. I would rather see him focus more on the singles career. That's just my takeaway on that. All right, second match, we had Mr. Anderson taking on Samoa Joe. Really not much you could get behind with this particular match. This match just kind of came about at the very last minute. If you had missed Impact Wrestling, then you kind of would have looked at this match and been like, what's the story with this one? Mr. Anderson recently returning about 2 weeks ago, still on the fence whether or not he's going to be joining Aces and Eights. Jeremy Borash, he did interview him in a backstage segment tonight, asking him, what is your affiliation with Aces and Eights? Mr. Anderson, he went on record. He said, when it comes to Aces and Eights, hey, I'm allowed to hang out with whoever I want to hang out with, and quite honestly, I've been enjoying their company. We all have been having some really, really good fun. As far as this whole thing with Samoa Joe, he goes back to what had happened Thursday night. Samoa Joe called him out. He got in his face, trying to see what the deal was. Samoa Joe attacked him. So as far as he's concerned, the ass whooping that's going to be coming to Samoa Joe, he's not really going to be feeling sorry about. And we did see Mr. Anderson. You want to talk about having good company in the likes of Aces and Eights. Well, we saw recently Unmaxed Mike Knox play a very critical role in this match as he had distracted Samoa Joe, who seemed to have the match going in his favor towards the end. Just distracted, looking on at Mike Knox, wondering if he was going to get in the ring. Mr. Anderson was able to capitalize on that distraction as his back was turned, set himself up for a finisher. Anderson picks up the win that way. Now, one could kind of look at what Anderson had did right there and also look at what Mike Knox had did as, without a doubt, I'm thinking we're probably going to get some type of a round table with Aces and Eights and Mike Knox on this coming Thursday night's Impact. And I think we're going to finally get to hear whether or not Mike Knox gets to keep his spot in the stable. Now, for those of you that are wondering, okay, is Mike Knox going to get the boot? I think just based on his actions tonight, And I think possibly based on his actions that he'll do on Thursday's Impact Live, I think he's going to be able to successfully keep his spot in the group. So don't expect for him to get the boot. Also, let's talk about our next match. It was the X Division tournament semifinals here, where the winner of this respected match immediately got injected into a match against Rob Van Dam for the X Division title. I don't know about you all, but Kenny King is really starting to grow on me in a big way. I'm loving this heel house run that he has going on. And, before I go any further, shout out to Evil Zebra. Welcome to the chat room, buddy. And also shout out to, let's see, who else? Looks like we had a couple of more people that joined the chat room there on Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to you all. Kenny King, I'm liking what I'm seeing from this brother. I mean, he's got this really nice mean streak that's going on right now. He was interviewed in a backstage segment talking to Jeremy Borash, and great reference there to the Freight Train Superman and how he's not Jamaican. Freight Train Superman, yeah, I get that. Nice good stuff right there. Kenny King, letting it be known that Rob Van Dam's time is up. He's not the same Rob Van Dam that he was years back. He's not the same Rob Van Dam that nearly killed Jerry Lynn or took on Sabu. Basically, his reign as the X Division champion is over. And Rob Van Dam, hey, once he's done, Kenny King is going to be the new prince, the new king, if you will, of the X Division. But first, folks, he has to get past Christian York. Now, if you had listened to our prediction special, I said that this match between Christian York and Kenny King going to be hands down a damn great matchup. And I had actually picked for King to advance. I just felt that the momentum was really in his favor right here, that the smart money made sense to have him advance to take on Rob Van Dam and strip RVD of the tag belts. It makes, not the tag belt, but the X Division title. Makes a lot of sense, right, guys? Yeah, it does. Well, it didn't even play out like that, but we did have a fantastic match from these guys. I would have to say that this particular match, I'd have to say it was one of my favorites, seeing these two guys go at it. We saw Christian York shockingly pick up a win over Kenny King. Now, post-match, very bitter, Kenny King assaults Christian York, and you're just wondering to yourself, oh, man, the way Kenny King just laid out Christian York, are we even still going to continue to have the next match? What's going to happen right here? Did Kenny King just set himself up to face RVD anyway? And if so, wouldn't that just defeat the whole purpose of having this tournament anyway? So, smart move right here that Rob Van Dam comes out as bitter Kenny King. He moves on. And Rob Van Dam, he's really not trying to have this match. He's actually telling Christian York, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's totally okay. Christian York, he eventually gets to his feet, gives RVD a slap in the face. Folks, our match is on. And honestly, this was actually the matchup I wanted to see. I wanted to see Christian York take on Rob Van Dam. I think for a lot of TNA wrestling fans, we appreciate everything that Rob Van Dam has done for the business. I think we all can be in agreement that we appreciate everything that he had did in ECW, everything that he did in the WWF, WWE, all the good work that he's done in TNA Wrestling. Basically, he's been a great ambassador for the sport of professional wrestling entertainment, okay? Hands down. But, here's a case right here where I'm just wondering to myself, what is it going to take for TNA management to stop playing favoritism right here and start elevating the hell out of these younger guys? I mean, you thought that with the Jesse Sorson, Zema Ion rivalry there that led to poor Jesse Sorson having his neck be broken, you would have thought that by now Zema Ion would be holding on to that X Division belt, ready and just having open arms here, waiting for Jesse Sorensen to make his return so they can have one hell of a fucking program. And it just seems like TNA Wrestling, they just really dropped the ball with that one. Now, how can they redeem themselves from that? Well, they could go with the next best thing that they got. They got Kenny King, Ring of Honor guy. They got Christian York. God, the guy's been in the independent circuit for a good number of years now. Hell of an all-around great athlete. Looks physically like a fucking monster. I mean, he just is ripped. Okay, nice look that he has going on, but that is not even the direction that they go in. And I don't know about you all, but I just can't help but watch it from that fan standpoint. It's very frustrating. And for those of you that's wondering, when is Jesse Sorensen going to come back? The only thing that we know right now is that he's supposed to be coming back this year. We don't know if he's supposed to be coming back the first quarter, second quarter. I don't know. Maybe we could get some type of cameo from him at the what's the next pay-per-view, Lockdown? Maybe we can get some type of an appearance from him at March's Lockdown. But I'm very curious to see what is going to be happening with the X Division title right here, because sooner or later management is going to have to go with Kenny King or Christian York. If you ask me honestly, I think the way that the events that had transpired tonight, I think they set this up in a great way where we could actually possibly see a triple threat match for the X Division title between Rob Van Dam, Christian York, and Kenny King. So don't be too surprised if you end up seeing that. Let's talk about our next match, which for me personally was one of the weakest matches of the whole card. Of course, you know, if you saw it, what I'm getting ready to talk about, Joseph Parks taking on Devon. First, let's just talk about that Joseph Park character in a nutshell. You know, you like that character. That's a really good character. I think he's done a phenomenal job with that character. It's definitely been more interesting than Abyss to a certain extent. I love the new theme that he had came out to tonight. It kind of reminded me, and see, I'm a little old school here, so y'all got to forgive me if I start talking about shows that y'all ain't never even heard of or watched, but the theme that he had going on there for his intro, it kind of reminded me of NBC's 1986 L.A. Law. I mean, that's just the vibe I was getting when I was watching that. It sounded pretty fucking interesting with the way I was hearing that. And, you know, this match between Joseph Park, Devon, I got to be brutally honest, I couldn't wait for this match to end because I just thought it was downright stupid. It wasn't the type of match I was expecting. I was actually expecting the type of match where Joseph Park, he's just actually wrestling. I mean, he's just literally doing like Abyss would do. And that's not even really what we had saw. Now, of course, we saw Joseph Park. He had the whole Abyss Hawk out moments as he saw the sight of his own blood, and so he just went to that deep, dark place, you know, like his brother, Abyss, you know. And we see him do the Black Hole Slam. Looks like he's getting ready to do the Choke Slam to Devon, but he just snaps out of it. And then we see him just go, what happened? We see Devon get a roll-up dirty pin, and he's able to just score the victory that way. Joseph Park wondering what happened, because last he thought the match was in the books. He was going to win this. I really couldn't wait for this match to end. I know, unfortunately, we're probably going to continue to see Joseph Park go to the Hulkster to get another shot at aces and eights. I do think that Hulk Hogan is going to try to put his foot down and tell Joseph, no, you already had your shot. You know, my mind's on other stuff right now. Forget about it. You know, you want to get another crack at them, you know, you're going to have to earn your way to that point or something of that nature. But I don't think Joseph Park is done just yet. Notice right here, though, right before this match, before all this craziness happened, you know, he was interviewed by Jeremy Borash. Notice that we see Joseph Park tell JB that he remembers everything that Aces and Nates had did to him. He remembers how they held him captive, how they did not give him food, and that he's looking for retribution. Just pause right there, okay? He says he remembers everything that they did to him. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I've been saying this off and on for months for those of you that have been listening, remember when Joseph Park had cracked the identities of the Aces and Eights members? And he was supposed to give this sensitive information to the Hulkster, but Aces and Eights, they had intercepted him as he was on his way to the Impact Arena. And that's what led to him being captive and all that in the first place. Remember how they took a hammer to his head when Joseph had told Aces and Eights, hey, y'all may have destroyed my computer, but everything is still in my mind. And they took a hammer to his head. Remember all that? You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that remembers that. You know, everybody's acting like it never happened, but I'm hearing Joseph Park say all this and how he remembers this and this. Okay, well then surely you would be the one to go to the Hulkster and say, you know what, about this whole Aces and Eights, I know who these guys are, I just don't know who their boss is. Once again, I think TNA Wrestling, they kind of put themselves in a really bad spot right here. You do have that hardcore audience that's going to remember that type of stuff. Seriously, that's all I got to say about that. All right, let's move along, folks. We also saw the Gauntlet tournament between the Knockouts. Let's get you guys covered on that. A lot of beautiful faces was in that contest. We had the very lovely Gail Kim in there. We had ODB, Mickie James, Miss Tessmacher. I am forgetting somebody. I know I am. I probably are going to repeat a name twice, so forgive me if I do, but I'll pull up the right information. ODB, all these beautiful girls in a gauntlet match. Winner gets to take on the Knockouts champion, Tara, for the title. And very interesting fun fact right here. Turns out the very first Knockouts gauntlet that they did years back to crown the Knockouts champion, Gail Kim, was part of that whole thing. And very interesting right here, because another interesting statistic that we get is that Gail Kim is actually 2-0 when it comes to these type of matches. Well, tonight wasn't Gail Kim's night, although it was looking like it could have been one of those nights for her. We saw her eliminate ODB, Miss Tessmacher, Mickie James. Then it came down to her and Velvet Sky. Now, Gail Kim, she tried to wait outside the ring, tried to hide behind the apron as Velvet Sky had came out and tried to get the jump on her that way, and basically tried to wrap this one in the books real quickly, but didn't even play out that way, unfortunately for her. It did end up backfiring in a huge way. But as Velvet Sky had claimed on the last episode of Impact Wrestling, or the episode to the last for 2012, this was going to be the year of the Velvet Sky. And, folks, Velvet Sky, letting them pigeons loose, had advanced right here to become the new number one contender to face Tara for that Knockouts title. Always been a Velvet Sky fan. I'm all for this. I know there's some people that's a little bit disappointed with this move right now because they don't quite feel that she's really at that level right now. I think with the right type of matches and the right type of storyline, I think she could have a little bit more longevity for sure than her last title reign. But, yeah, I will go on record and admit that, you know, she is still a little bit rusty. I mean, at this point, when you compare her to Miss Tessmacher and you put the question out there, who's the better performer in the ring between those two Knockouts, you would give the edge to Miss Tessmacher. So Velvet Sky, still a little rusty right here, but I have faith in her. I think she's going to get back to that point where she was before she had left the company. Next match, we had Christopher Daniels take on the Cowboy, James Storm. And as it was revealed by TNA President Dixie Carter on her Twitter page, the winner of this respected match gets a shot at the TNA champion on the Impact episode coming January 24th. So a lot at stake right here with this particular match. Now, if y'all have peeped out or called that match special, I went out there. I say, honestly, if I was booking this, the route I would take would be to go with Christopher Daniels, because Christopher Daniels possibly working with Jeff Hardy for the title has got a better ring to it than James Storm, Jeff Hardy. That's just the route that I was looking at. But there was that part of me that was kind of thinking from that whole TNA aspect that maybe they would go with the Cowboy James Storm. Well, very happy to tell you guys, especially if you are a long-time Christopher Daniels fan, Daniels actually won that match tonight, and I want to pull up a comment that I just thought was downright stupid. I want to read it to you guys right now. Let's see if we can pull it up for you all. And this comment comes from, see if we can put this person out there. This person comes from King of Wrestling 1, and this is a direct quote that he had said. And it meant a little bit of negative feedback right here from a few people. Quote, yes, I do, and Hardy Storm match would have popped a good rating, but TNA fucked up Storm again, which says they have no faith in him. Now, let's just pause right there. I think that James Storm is one hell of an athlete, and he is going to get his time as the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He will get to that point. It's just that, unfortunately, there are other guys right now that are more hotter than he is that respectfully should kind of get their crack at it before he gets his turn. Now, let's talk about it from a Christopher Daniels fan standpoint. And this guy actually did receive a reply back for this really silly comment. And the comment rebuttal came from Alex Barry. He said, disagreeing with Daniels' win and title shot is one of the dumbest things to say right now. You don't even know wrestling. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've been watching the career of Christopher Daniels, this really could not come at a better time right now. I mean, you just think about the long, decorated wrestling career that this man has had. I mean, this guy wrestled for WCW. He wrestled for the WWF. He wrestled for Shakira. He wrestled for Ring of Honor. The guy was part of Triple X with Low Key, with Elix Skipper. I mean, come on, man. Seriously. This guy has a long, long, decorated career of great accomplishments, but probably the one main thing that he didn't have to add to that resume is being a world heavyweight champion at a major promotion. And, I mean, for him to be in this type of a position where he's now going to be able to get a damn good shot at facing one of the best TNA World Heavyweight Champions that the company has right now, because he is mainstream. He is popular. He breaks through so many barriers, whether it's with the women, with the men, with the kids. I mean, he is a part of pop culture in a way. Jeff Hardy, I mean, this has one of the greatest potentials to be a really great rivalry if they do this right. And quite honestly, Christopher Daniels has been so fucking white hot that it's ridiculous. It would just be silly to not put him in that position of taking on the TNA champion. Now, I'm not going on record saying that Daniels is going to become the new TNA champion, at least when it comes to Jeff Hardy. Would I like to see him as a TNA World Heavyweight Champion before he hangs it up? Because he's not getting any younger. I mean, come on, the guy was born in 1970. He's not getting any younger. Would I like to see him become a World Heavyweight Champion before he hangs up his boots? Hell yeah. And who do I think presents him with that best opportunity right now? definitely TNA Wrestling. I mean, honestly, let's be for real. Could you see this happening with Daniels in WWE? Just knowing that we got guys like CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, knowing that we've seen guys like that have become WWE World Heavyweight Champions, could Daniels do something like that for that organization? Unfortunately for Daniels, I don't think so. I really think that would be a case right there where he would be deemed a little bit too small, okay? But for TNA Wrestling, it is just right, and the right people are in place to get him to that point. And you want to talk about a huge mark-out moment if they were to pull that trigger and make him become a World Heavyweight Champion. But once again, Daniels picking up the win over James Storm. I know we have a lot of James Storm fans out there that are probably like, what is going on with James Storm? It just seems like he is in the doghouse right now. James Storm is just, I think, honestly doing the right thing. He is trying to put other people over that really deserve to be in that spotlight right now. I could understand it if maybe James Storm was jobbing to a newcomer that hasn't even put in enough time in the company, but come on, guys, let's be for real. Daniels is the fucking man. Kazarian has been stepping up in a huge way as well. Still has a little ways to go before becoming a TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but he's been coming along very nicely too. Very proud for Daniels right there. Of course, it wouldn't be TNA Genesis without getting an appearance from Bully Ray. After all, his face was plastered all over the posters, logos, the works. Remember, he was suspended there. Well, we did get word that Bully Ray was going to be showing up with Brooke Hogan at tonight's event, and sure enough, the two of them, they did pop up. A little bit of a silly moment right here as basically Bully Ray was going over who all was going to be invited to their wedding and talking about how Rolling Stones are going to be there, Lady Gaga, hey, all the TNA Wrestling fans, they're going to be there too. And so everybody is welcome to see them tie the knot this Thursday on Impact Live. Yay! That's all I got to say about that. I could care less about this. I was waiting for something to happen. Unfortunately, it did not happen. I thought at least we were going to get an appearance from Hulk Hogan. Now, I don't want to spend like 10, 15 minutes talking about this particular segment, but I just felt that this particular piece right here could have been pulled off in a very big way. It would have made more sense, and this just would have been me. This is how I would have wrote this out. I would have had Hulk Hogan appear, and I would have had him have security all around him, and basically the Hulkster goes, "Didn't I tell you that you were suspended without pay, brother, and that you're not supposed to be here?" And the same thing could apply to Brooke Hogan. So basically, the Hulkster could have been like, you guys have no business being in the arena right now. I cleared you all for your wedding, but, you all are not supposed to be here. Take a hike. That could have been something that could have played out that way. Very weird is the best word I can describe it right now. You suspend a wrestler without pay indefinitely. He's done with the company, yet you're allowing him to tie the knot on national TV. I don't know about you all, but that just sounds really silly in my book, quite honestly. But that segment was what it was. Now, of course, Bully Ray would come back out and do double duty as we had the match between Sting and Doc from Aces and Eights. And as expected, Sting picked up the win. And, the victory actually just came out of nowhere. Doc, Sting, they actually had a pretty good outing right here. I really did mind these two guys going at it right here. Was a little bit disappointed with the finish, though. I was just expecting a little bit more. I guess I wasn't expecting the match to be so clean, the way it just wrapped up. But, come on. We knew better. Those that picked against Sting, come on now. Sting, first pay-per-view back of the new year. You knew he was going to get a win right here. But we see Aces and Eights, they surround the ring. They're actually trying to get the jump on Sting. Lo and behold, Bully Ray, he comes out steel chain in hand. And once again, I always think it's funny that when a guy with a steel chain wrapped around his fist comes running down the ring, you have 7, 8 grown-ass men just haul ass, and they don't know how to jump him. I just think that's hilarious right there, but, hey, whatever, folks. But, once again, Bully Ray coming out doing double duty. All right, main event time. It was for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship as we saw Austin Aries take on Robert Roode, Jeff Hardy. Of course, it looked like going into this match, and for a good part of this match, there was a bit of a teamwork, if you will, from Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, as they both feel that Jeff Hardy does not even deserve to be the TNA champion, that he does not bring prestige to that title. If anything, it's an insult that he even has it, and that basically they're going to be teaming up to take Jeff Hardy out early and put the spotlight on them, and that basically two of the best in professional wrestling get it on. One of them walks away with the title. That was the game plan. Well, we saw some really good teamwork from these guys for a good portion of the match, but you knew sooner or later it was going to have to come to an end. We saw Bobby Roode digging down deep there, right when he thought that he had this match where he wanted, turn on Austin Aries, and from there, everything was just up in the air. This was pretty much anybody's match, but once again, just like this man has done for a good majority of his career, Jeff Hardy defies the odds once again, retains his TNA World Heavyweight title. Great spots in this matchup, by the way. I mean, to see Jeff Hardy do the twist of fate to Austin Aries between the ropes, that was just freaking priceless in itself. I mean, really great sweet spots. A lot of sweet spots we saw in this contest tonight. Probably, now that I'm thinking about it in retrospect, the best match on the card for just the entire night. Definitely one of the best. If I was to pick a second best match, I would have to go with the Christian York versus Kenny King. I thought that was a good match too. Third place, if I were to pick a third match, Joey Ryan, Matt Morgan taking on Joey Ryan, Matt Morgan taking on Chavo and Hernandez. Those would be the three picks out there out of a total of, 9 matches. Overall, with regards to this respective pay-per-view, if it's a must-buy, unfortunately, no, and this is where I got to be real with you guys. I thought that for the first pay-per-view of the new year, I thought that with Genesis, they came up a little bit short. It kind of felt to me like a mid-average type of pay-per-view. And I don't like saying that, but, I got to be real. And I really thought about it, as I was watching each particular match, and I'm playing it back in my head as I'm looking at the next match. And unfortunately, just overall, this was a bit of an average pay-per-view. And it's quite unfortunate because, it's Genesis. And I don't know, maybe this pay-per-view would have had a little bit more pop to it if possibly we could have seen a new TNA World Heavyweight Champion be crowned. Maybe we could have went that route. Or maybe we could have seen Rob Van Dam drop the X Division title. Maybe it would have had a little bit more of an overall impact on my view of this pay-per-view, but I definitely feel that it came up a little short, and it's actually quite good that TNA Wrestling is going to be only having 4 major pay-per-views for this calendar year, because now they get to put more focus on a really good build-up of a storyline, really take more time into developing better characters, better matches, better execution for these pay-per-views when they get ready to come out. And, of course, they have that TNA one-night-only thing, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to begin in April. I think that has all the potential in the world to really help bring in a new TNA audience and fans. And from what I'm hearing of the early prices for these TNA one-night-only events, I'm hearing it's going to be probably about anywhere between $10 to $20 to watch these things. So that's going to be pretty cool. But best advice I can give you guys, stay away from the spoilers if you plan on watching these one-night events, because they tape them weeks in advance. And really looking forward to seeing this, because a lot of people, independent, not under a TNA Wrestling contract, performers are going to be coming back. So far we're hearing word that Petey Williams is coming back. Rubik's is going to be coming back. Lot of cool names is going to be coming back for it. So, but overall, scale of 1 to 10 for this Genesis pay-per-view, I would have to give it a modest. Oh, this is a tough one. I'll give it a modest 7 out of 10, and I'll leave it at that. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take just a very brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, I do want to open up the phone lines and get you all's reactions to tonight's pay-per-view. And as we're taking this commercial break, I want you guys to have your thoughts be ready and try to keep it as brief as possible. When I say as brief as possible, try to see if you can make your points in less than 3 minutes. That's how much time we'll do, because I want the show to be a little bit short tonight and make sure we give you some quick programming notes. All right, so we'll take that commercial break right now, and then when we come right back, my friends, we will jump right all into it. You're listening to the RCWR Post Show, coming at you live right now on January 13th, 2012, 20 minutes before the midnight hour. Coming right back.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
So, I want to let you guys know, because we've been off to a really great start this year. If you haven't checked it out already, it was selected as the Blog Talk Radio staff picks for this whole weekend. I had a great sit-down one-on-one interview with former WWE wrestler Gene Snitsky. And as long as I've been doing interviews, that was the most fun interview I've had to date. And we've interviewed a lot of people. If you haven't checked that out yet, make sure you check it out on the archives. It's on the downloads, iTunes, Zoom Marketplaces. Just use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And I want to send a big special thank you to the good staff of Blog Talk Radio. I would be shot dead if I did not thank them tonight for selecting that episode. As you know, we've picked up a good number of new listeners and folks that are more into checking out this show. So new listeners that have checked that piece out and backtracked to a couple other shows that we have put out this week, welcome. Hope you appreciate the great content. Quick programming note for our YouTube subscribers, you all will receive an exclusive post show covering the fallout from WWE Raw. You'll be able to get that, I would say, sometime in the wee hours of the night, late Monday night going into Tuesday morning. And Monday night at 11:30 p.m., I will be making a special appearance on the Diamond K Show. Again, 11:30 p.m. Eastern, I'll be making a special appearance on the Diamond K Show. I'll be talking with him about the fallout from the 20th anniversary of WWE Raw. Ongoing collaboration that we're going to be doing from time to time. If you haven't checked out what we did this past week on Monday, I highly encourage you to go backtrack and check it out. All right, so without any further ado, let's go on ahead and let's open up the phone lines. Number to call, as always, 646-478-3545. Once again, that is 646-478-3545. And, all right, let's go to our first caller. Caller from the 205. You are live on the air, my friend.
What?
Caller from the 205. You're live. Once, twice. Okay, we're moving on. Caller from 269. That's Dave from the Michigan area. Dave, you're live, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good, man.
The show is okay tonight, but a lot of people are wanting Jeff Hardy to drop the title. But if we remember last year, all we had from TNA in the WWE, in a way, heel champions for the whole year, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And let the face champions run it for a while. And so if you're ready to just give it back to the heels, let Jeff Hardy run its course. Let us see some good guys as champion for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, congrats on the first, I believe it's your first ex-WWE star actually to interview, so congrats on that.
Yeah, did you check it out?
Yeah, I'm about to tonight, actually.
Oh yeah, check it out, man. It was really good. I had him for about 30 minutes there. Some good stuff. So overall, what would you give Genesis tonight?
Maybe a 4 or a 5. I mean, besides Daniels winning, I mean, and that three-way match was the best two matches in my opinion. And it's about time for Daniels. Even give Kaz a shot too. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Daniels hasn't. I could see Ring of Honor, like you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What company would give him a world title shot?
Right.
I mean, besides Ring of Honor and TNA, none.
Right.
I mean, who thought that Jeff Hardy would have ever been TNA champion? Because remember when he came back, I believe after his run in the WWE, he was never TNA champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally won the TNA title, 2 years ago at Bound for Glory, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, before that, he was never TNA champion. So, you never know.
Yeah, very interesting. Go on record one more time. Give that rating again that you gave for the pay-per-view.
Maybe a 5, if that.
A 5 at
and
that.
That's because...
Wow, that's honesty. Oh, go ahead, Dave. We had to cut you off there. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm surprised that there was no Knockouts title match, actually.
You know, that did kind of rub me the wrong way, and I was actually kind of under the impression that maybe they were going to do something a little bit similar to what they had did with the RVD title tonight, where they had the X Division semifinal tournament, and then the winner automatically had faced RVD. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't operate that way with the Knockouts title, but hey, it's all good. 5 out of 10, yeah. And you know what? We're asking everybody that had saw tonight's pay-per-view. You're more than welcome to cast your vote. We have it up at our website right now at InfinityOneProductions.com. Go check it out and cast your votes. And what we'll do is we'll follow up on it at, Impact Showdown Radio this Thursday night. We'll follow up on it that way. All right, Dave, thanks for that call. I think that's it. I'm going to look at the switchboard one more time, and it looks like that's it for callers. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. You guys have had a long weekend. You probably have been kicking back watching all the football games, and you had to close out the weekend with the TNA pay-per-view tonight. Again, join me. I'm going to be making a special appearance on the Diamond K Show this Monday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about the 20th anniversary of WWE Raw. YouTube subscribers, you'll be able to get my thoughts on Raw. It'll be an exclusive piece only at our YouTube channel, so check that out. And other than that, that's it. We're going to be on a little bit of a break. Join us Thursday night for Impact Showdown Radio. We'll cover the fallout from the Genesis pay-per-view, and that's going to do it.